We are back with another video here on the Kenikka Sports channel looking at some NFL rumors, everybody. Rumors are back on the menu as we continue to be sad about the end of the Chicago Bears season, Nika.
I know.
Oh, man, what a heartbreaking ending. I think the fact that it was right there for the taking at the end and it was miscommunication, if you will, that caused our season to go kaput.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to swallow, you know? Like,
Sure.
I think if we'd have lost by 2 touchdowns, it might have been easier.
Might have been, sure. But at the same time, you know the team was not ready to take it all the way to Super Bowl.
I view this as a sign.
Yeah.
Yes, they're not ready, and it's good. You got to stay hungry, everybody.
Of course. Not to say, next season will be easy by no means, but
Well, as we were watching the Bears, I guess, implode on Sunday Night Football, for lack of a better word, the rumor mill around the NFL has already been burning and churning into this divisional round weekend. And as we march towards NFC and AFC championship weekend, which is always a special weekend in the NFL, we have now the press getting involved with some of their traditional rumor articles, and these may have started already before we were done playing football, but I don't really pay attention to the off season until my team is in the off season. So it really wasn't until Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning when I started to look ahead to the 2026 Chicago Bears. And as a result, I started to look at more of what's just happening around the NFL. And a few things caught my eye, Nika. And I know we cover the Bears here primarily, but I wanted to at least discuss some of these things and just look at the implications around the NFL, what it could be in the future. And this is from Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, and these are, some kind of off-the-record NFL executive predictions, if you will. Like, we're familiar with this a little bit in the baseball world in the offseason, but the NFL world also no differently. These big ESPN or NFL.com insiders, they have their sources that remain nameless, but will give them some juice, right? Give them some dirt, or give them a rumor or a prediction like this is like this. And so you can see on the headline here, Lamar Jackson, AJ Brown trades. There are executives out there that are predicting these two players are going to get moved this offseason. And I'm not going to go through every single rumor that's mentioned in here, but I am going to talk about Lamar Jackson and AJ Brown with you today. Let's start with Lamar Jackson and the first rumor. Ravens will trade Lamar Jackson to the Raiders. This potential pairing has made its way through the rumor mill, and multiple people I spoke with who track such things used their one bold prediction in this exercise to designate Jackson a radar. So not one, but 2 executives are saying Lamar Jackson is going to be a Las Vegas Raider.
Does that make more credence to the rumor? Because there's 2 of them?
Well, I guess you got to double it up, right?
Yeah,
2 is better than 1. To take Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti at his word is to assume Jackson will remain in Baltimore. Bisciotti was clear he wants a contract extension for Jackson by March, but if we're going bold, it just seems like there's been some consternation there with Lamar and the Ravens, and this would be the ultimate Mark Davis move. An NFL personnel evaluator said, I'm not even convinced everybody with Vegas would be on board with it, but it would instantly solve their quarterback problems. Man, and there's a lot of
Quarterback problems?
What is the animosity against Lamar? Is it his attitude only? I mean, the guy's got 2 MVPs. From chemistry issues with the previous coaching staff to concerns about his availability, Jackson's relationship with the Ravens does not seem to be in the best spot. Well, I guess that answers some of my questions.
Sure.
Baltimore probably realizes life with a 2-time MVP is better than life without, which would mean a big contract offer is coming. But this is a situation to monitor, and how Jackson hits it off with the new head coach feels significant.
That's the key to this whole thing.
It really is, isn't it? Like, I guess if I'm the Ravens, John Harbaugh is out the building. He's already the New York Giants coach. And a lot of people at the time were saying that it was like kind of a choice between Lamar and John Harbaugh for the Ravens, and they decided to go with the quarterback. It's interesting that you have other people saying that this isn't over yet, and it just makes me wonder, do do the Ravens stand a chance of just blowing it all up? And how do their fans feel about that? Like, and are they gonna continue to show out for the Raven? I
don't know.
That's a tough sell if I'm a fan. You know, you're gonna trade the 2-time MVP of the league in the middle of his prime still. And I know he's getting older, and I know he has maybe some attitude concerns. We learned about that a little bit this year when the Ravens played the Bears.
Maybe he will stay with the Ravens, and Sean McDermott from the Bills that just got let go, coach the Ravens.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I guess if I'm Lamar Jackson and the Ravens don't come to me and ask me, who do you want to coach the team, then I'm more inclined to at least be less open-minded to whoever they bring in. If they're not going to even ask me what I think about it, and I'm the 2-time MVP and I'm their franchise quarterback, it kind of tells me a lot about what they think of me. So I don't think I'm going to necessarily want to play ball and feel like I'm part of a long-term relationship here. We see how much power these players have. If they want to move, there's not a whole hell of a lot that they can do. I don't know if the relationship with Lamar Jackson is a strained coaching relationship with John Harbaugh, or if it's more of a strained relationship with just the Ravens in general, and he wants a change of scenery. I gotta be honest, I kind of like the idea of him on the Raiders.
Okay.
I know that might sound cruel to Ravens fans, so apologies in advance, but playing Mahomes twice a year,
that sells.
Playing Justin Herbert twice a year,
it will sell.
Playing Bo Nix twice a year. I mean, what a great division that would become. All right, well, let's move on to the next rumor, and that is that the Eagles are going to trade A.J. Brown to the Bills. And I almost have to laugh at this because the Bills are a circus and a half right now, or more, I guess. Like, you know, news continues to break about them day by day. First, they fire their coach Monday after apparently a 7-minute meeting.
Yeah.
Ouch. 9 years and 7 minutes is all it takes, everybody.
Yep.
So Sean McDermott's out in Buffalo, and now the owner and the GM had a press conference this morning and apparently like hung out to dry one of their own draft picks from last year, and basically blamed the coaching staff on going in this direction instead of the GM, which is just total dysfunction in Buffalo right now. And now Josh Allen apparently might be reconsidering whether he wants to spend the rest of his days in Buffalo. And I got to imagine their fans are just fuming over this.
No kidding.
What the hell did you do to our franchise? You just blew it up in 3 days over one bad... I mean, and Buffalo is still mad over the bad call. You know, they really think that they should have had this game-winning field goal opportunity and won the game against Denver. And Mike Tomlin's not coming out of retirement, everybody. He says, nah, I'm good. I'll take the TV job.
Yep.
Wow, this is going in a strange direction very quickly in Buffalo, I feel like. I did not see this coming so fast, and I don't know who they're even going to get to coach their team.
I don't know.
Like, who is going to be better than what you had at this point? Harbaugh's off the menu. Hafley, the DC or the defensive coordinator from Green Bay, is off the menu. Mike McDaniel is now an offensive coordinator for the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh.
You know who needs a job? Eberflus.
I don't think he's ever working in the NFL again, personally, but you know, the Packers need a defensive coordinator still.
Oh,
he might look good in green and gold.
And
his buddy LaFleur.
Yeah.
Oh, who knows the Bears better than Eberflus? Hire him, please do it, Packer fans, please. I beg of you. They will not do it. Okay, so Buffalo. You know, I don't even know if I need to read this out loud, because the funny part is like, I don't know what good AJ Brown even does the Bills anymore if Josh Allen's not going to be there.
I know, it's such a dysfunctional family over there at this point.
Yeah, it's a weird one, and I think that we'll have to just kind of wait and see how this gets resolved. Now, the Bills can make Josh Allen's concerns all go away by just signing the right coach. And it seems like right now that's kind of what's needed. They need a Ben Johnson. It's too bad he's not available.
Just only one Ben Johnson.
But they need a strong offensive-minded coach who's also strong-willed, I guess, with the men in the locker room. And they don't have that right now. And that's what they need to come in and bring function to this dysfunction. That's kind of what the Bears were last year a little bit. The brass was dysfunctional, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think a lot of people would not admit that. But the best part about a guy like a Ben Johnson coming in to any football team is that it immediately takes pressure off your front office, because they're going to handle everything to do with football, and you have to don't worry about any of that anymore.
Yeah,
and,
you just have to take
focus
care of
on
the
roster, personnel, and everything like that. And he sets the tone for the rest of the building, which is more important. And so whoever that coach is in Buffalo, it's a huge hire for them now, because it could depend on whether or not Josh Allen decides to blow it up. And he has just as much power as Lamar, I feel like. If he says, you know what, I want to be traded and I'm not coming to training camp, and
that's that.
Yeah. If Micah Parsons can hamstring Jerry Jones, anybody can hamstring pretty much anybody at that level. I'm not saying all players can do this, but if you're at a certain echelon,
then you have the power.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Malik Willis will be a Miami Dolphin or a Cleveland Brown. If Daniel Jones returns to the Indianapolis Colts, as many expect, Willis emerges as a possible top free agent at the position. Willis made some coin with his performance in relief of Jordan Love in Green Bay, showing dual threat ability that a new offensive mind could mold. Quote, I just don't think the Browns go into the season with Shedeur Sanders as their top option, an NFC personnel man said. Quote, and getting the right quarterback in the draft isn't a guarantee based on where they pick. The Browns have the numbers 6 and 24 picks in the first round of April's draft. No regime will know Willis's strengths better than Miami, which just hired a brain trust of GM John/Eric Sullivan and head coach Jeff Hafley from Green Bay. The Packers valued Willis's development, and Miami could bear the fruits of that labor. So a couple things. We saw Malik Willis play in both of these games that are referenced in this little blurb, because one of them was against your Chicago Bears when Jordan Love got knocked out with a concussion in that second regular season game at Soldier Field, and he looked really good. He also played against the Ravens the following week, which we also watched, because that became ultimately the game that the Packers lost and gave the NFC North to the Bears. We watched both of these games, and I have to agree with the assessment here that I feel like he's ready to be a quarterback. He has enough of a body of work and enough development, I think, underneath Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur in Green Bay to get an opportunity somewhere else. I think it's really cruel to hold people back from getting a promotion in the coaching world and in the player world.
Okay,
and
fair enough.
I really think that Green Bay will probably do right by him and not be selfish and hoard potentially 2 quality starting quarterbacks when the league needs as many as they can get right now.
Well, they're also going to need a backup quarterback.
You can get veteran backup quarterbacks.
Sure.
You know, they're a dime a dozen out there, and what you can't get is an elite playmaking number 1 quarterback in his prime years. Those guys aren't out there. You can bring in any guy to come in and babysit your offense. The Colts brought in Phillip Rivers. Yeah.
That's true.
I'm not saying they brought him in to babysit. They definitely brought him in to make some plays. And, who's going to tell Phillip Rivers to babysit? He went out there spear chucking him, right? You get what I'm saying, though, is that there's backups everywhere.
Sure.
There's Mitchell Trubisky's out there, everybody. And he's got enough of a body of work now and enough experience where you would feel pretty comfortable bringing a guy like that in if you had to for a couple weeks during the regular season to cover for an injury or a concussion or something like that. Back to Malik. Definitely think he's got enough skills, and if I were a betting person, I would think he goes to Miami.
That's a good fit.
The coach already knows him, and like I said, I think Green Bay will try to do right by him. Hey, one other rumor I wanted to mention from this article that caught my attention is that the George Pickens situation in Dallas could get sticky. That's the headline. The Cowboys are expected to franchise tag George Pickens, which would pay him around $28 million next season. But Pickens will want a long-term deal above that number, and if Dallas doesn't give him that, some around the league wonder whether he stays away from the team for a large portion of the offseason or even training camp. This sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Drama
in Dallas, everybody. I just don't see him coming off the season he had welcoming the franchise tag with open arms, a veteran AFC coach said. So we move away from the executive level and into the coaching ranks. If tagged, both sides would have until July 15th to reach a deal. Pickens can choose not to sign the tag as a leverage method.
Oh, okay. So he's got an option.
Yeah, there's options. I remember as a Bears fan back even when Lance Briggs was getting franchise tagged as a linebacker because the Bears were wanting to keep him and Brian Urlacher together as a linebacking unit. They were amazing together. And yet Brian Urlacher had the long-term guaranteed money deal because he was Brian Urlacher, and Lance Briggs, even though he had some all-pro credentials on his resume, there was no money to keep both of them. So they wound up giving Lance Briggs the franchise tag. And I think he hated it at the time. And I think I can understand why players hate it. It's a get out of jail free card almost for a team to keep one of their own, you know? And
Sure.
I understand it from both perspectives too, because when you play in a league with a salary cap and a salary floor, you'll have to make tough decisions along the way, and you're never going to be able to afford to keep them all, especially if you draft well. So I understand the team's perspective on it too, and this is a tough one. I think these situations in the modern day, more so than Lance Briggs' day, tend to favor the player. We saw what happened with Micah Parsons in Dallas last year. It wasn't necessarily over a franchise tag, but it just shows you the player has the power.
Right, because the player right now has a following on social media, has a lot of more voices that will speak for him.
Absolutely.
And be loud about it. Back in the day, nobody knew.
Well, and players are just their own businesses now. You
That's
know,
true.
They're their own brand. They're their own everything.
Yeah.
It's not to say that they don't play a team game and participate as teammates with each other, but just when it comes to the off season, off the field, who am I? This is me.
Yeah.
They all have their own identity, image, brand, and people working
sure?
on that to make them the most money as possible. This will be interesting to watch, and it'll be interesting to see, like, you know, how it impacts other teams and players. I feel like what I ultimately want to say here is that it might be time to revisit the franchise tag. And if you're going to franchise a player, maybe you get that long-term guaranteed money out of it. Maybe you're allowed to do that. You know, maybe you're allowed to pay the $28 million. Maybe that extends to 5 years and it's guaranteed as a franchise. We're not going to go to free agency. We're not going to negotiate, but you will be paid as a top 5 player at your position. Who knows? I mean, it's a tough, because you don't want to take away all the negotiating power for that many years from a player. They will probably not go for that.
Well, maybe 5 years is too long. Maybe it's 3 years.
Maybe there's common ground. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a way to find, you know, some common ground there. That was the last rumor I had, and that's all I got from this article from good old Jeremy Fowler on ESPN, everybody. Let the off-season rumor mill begin, Nika. I can't wait, especially for, like, Bears rumors.
Oh, they're going to be coming.
In the meantime, we got some more NFL news that we're going to get to in just a minute.